climbing prices.
So you don't think we're going into any type of a bubble merely because we don't have enough inventory to supply the demand already?
Yes, because, and the one thing about this market we're in now, like in the bubble, I would have people pay $40,000-$50,000 over list on
They're doing that right now.
No, well, not on a $300,000 home though.
Okay.
And so what I'm seeing, my average sales price is about 103% of list price. So after everything settles, so not 110% of list price, not 115% of list price. And I know that's happening in some markets, and it might happen on a hot custom home in Winter Park or in Windermere, or that one lakefront home that just popped up at a great price. But that's what it's all about. When I talk to my customers, that's what it's about: setting up a house for sale, having it prepped right, staged right, having it all the work done to it, and then pricing it right. Pricing is an art, and you can't go, okay, neighbor's selling for $650. I'm going to go $750. Doesn't work that way. You need to go $660 and get a bunch of offers, and then pick the most reasonable guy, list your house at $660, and then you might sell for $699.
Well, one of the dilemmas that sellers are having right now is they'll get the offer over ask price, but then it doesn't appraise. And what do you do to ensure that that buyer will pay the difference? Does that have to be in the contract, Cleve?
Not always in the contract. Kind of depends on how. Sometimes a motivated buyer or a good buyer's agent will put that in there saying, hey, we'll pay you $10,000 or we'll pay you X over appraisal if it doesn't appraise.
Right.
Because that buyer's made a decision based on what their family needs.
Because you can't make it an infinite number.
No, you can't.
Or you could say, I'll pay you $10,000 over appraised value, provided it appraises for at least the original ask price.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you have questions for Cleve, you can reach him at 407-352-8118. That's 407-352-8118. Or you can reach me, the Loan Arranger, which I highly advise you get fully pre-approved and go through my Fast Track Loan program, which ensures a fast closing. And you can reach me and my team at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144 or WeBringYouHome.com. That's WeBringYouHome.com. Here's my thoughts on that whole pullback and recession. I think you can't have a recession. You can't have a real estate pullback when you don't have enough inventory.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't have one when there's also a shortage of rental properties and rents are going up. So your rents are going up and your housing is going up. And you have inflation. How are houses going to come down in price when inflation is so high?
I don't think, and what I see is, and there's so much, buyers have a lot of information in their palm of their hand right now. And they know the last 4 homes that sold, and the 2 they should have made offers on, or they didn't make their offers big enough, but they're still not willing to go, like I said, way over list price. But it's going to be, I think this is just a steady burn on the market. It's not an out of control blaze.
Well, I think that our massive appreciation will settle down.
Yes.
But the market, when you hear the news, they're like, oh my gosh, home sales were down by 17%. Well, of course they were. That's because they were up by 150%.
Yeah, and there's nothing to sell. Yeah, so inventory tight. So all those numbers roll through. But this is what's important, Bruce. You interpret, you can talk about interest rates, but those interest rates will vary depending on who you're talking to. On your mortgage. And I interpret that for people because sometimes their dreams are, I need to get this much money because this is where I want to go. I'm going into this market. I know my house is going to cost me this much, or I want to downsize to this much. So I can tell them, I help a lot of people do real estate planning. And this is something that I do where I might talk to somebody a year or 2 or 3. I just talked to a gentleman today I've been talking to for almost 4 years. He got his company sold, and he's ready to downsize and head off to the hills and just sit on his front porch. And I've been helping him for a couple of years. I told him several years ago he knew he was going to need new flooring and new carpets. I gave him all the color choices and said, this is what's hot, this is what you want to do. And we upgraded some things nicely. He was going to go back to his old, he'd been in the house for 40 years. He was about ready to go back to like avocado green and harvest gold. And I said, no. Look at these pictures here. Use these colors. And I gave him the pictures for him. So I help people with that all the time because real estate planning is something that I look at. I'm not just trying to get your listing and get sold because I need a paycheck. I want to help you. So you say Loveland Properties did a great job, and you're going to send me all your friends and family.
Right.
So now, Bruce, tell me about something here. I just heard rates dropped again.
Well, rates did drop for early in the week. On Wednesday, we had another alert to lock. So, I've been pushing people, hey, rates are down. Rates have dropped. They've dropped.
Mm-hmm.
But what's happening is, and we had a good week. First half of the week, good week. Wednesday, not as good of a day. Okay. So, and here's the thing. I watch the market all day long. I have multiple screens on my desk that give me indicators on what's happening with the market. I have tech systems that give me information on the market. But here's, and I don't like to get too esoteric or too technical, but for those that want to understand what is driving rates down, we had a lot of economic news come out. And all week we've had the Fed meeting about different things. The PPE came out, unemployment came out, the consumer goods came out. All these indicators come out, which can positively or negatively affect the market. But interest rates are tied to the bond market, right? So what's happening is we are bouncing off a 200-day moving average. And we cannot pierce the ceiling of that 200-day moving average. If we pierce the ceiling of that 200-day moving average on the bond market, we could see an improvement in interest rates. But what happens, Cleve, is we keep going up to it, and we hit it, and we bounce right back down again. So this week, we got right up to the 200-day moving average on the bond market, and it really helped interest rates. They were down a lot. If you got a second chance early in the week, and I was pushing it last week on this show, I was pushing it this week on the show, you got a huge opportunity. If you are not reacting now, you likely will miss out on it. Now, if you're closing in the next 45 days, you need to lock now. Okay? If you're 6 months out, we could potentially, if we pierce that ceiling of resistance, see another improvement in interest rates. If we don't, they're going to keep staying where they are and bouncing back and forth. And it's extremely volatile. And it can make you a little nervous.
Question. I've seen some articles out there. A lot of people do have equity in their homes. They don't want to go anywhere. They want to spend a little money on the house. If I get a cash out refi, does that cost me a little bit more in rate? Is it a lot more or a little more?
Just a little bit more.
Okay.
The cash out refinances are always priced differently than a rate and term refinance. In other words, if you just want to refinance your balance and include new closing costs, your rate will be slightly lower than if you're pulling money out. The risk level, according to Fannie Mae, HUD, and Ginnie Mae, is much higher when people are pulling money out than it is when they're just refinancing their balance. So yes, there is a premium for a cash out refinance, but it makes sense. Like I took a client this week, refinanced his home, 30-year mortgage, paid off debt, saving him $2,100 a month.
Yeah, that's what you should do. Yeah.
Now, if he applied the $2,100 that he was paying with what he's paying currently, okay, if he applied that to the new mortgage,
15-year note, 10-year note,
almost 8.5 years.
Awesome.
So now he'd have no debt and no mortgage.
So what we're saying here, read between the lines. Don't pull $50,000 out and go to Fiji. Or pay off some debt.
Well, or just go back to Walmart and buy more George Foreman grills and 88th Street TVs. But, you have to, if you want to really have the things that are going to bring you a quality and lifestyle that you want, you can't do it when you're overloaded with debt. You'll never do that. You and I say there's no such thing as a rich renter. Well, you're not going to get rich by
being a refi-aholic.
Right? So, or a refi-aholic. And I see that. Oh my God. And listen, I love doing your refis for you. Okay. But when I have to refinance you every 3 years because you're just using your home equity to pay for all your garbage, you're not going to get ahead. And sooner or later, you'll pay the piper on that.
All right. You have any questions for Bruce? Bruce, what's the number to call you at?
407-250-9144, 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com.
And Cleve Loveland, cleveloveland.com, 407-352-8118. Remember, you look up and down your street, chances are one of those rooftops. I've helped sell it, buy it, or manage it as an investment property. You can always call us, and we will help you anytime, anywhere within the sound of our voice. Hottest markets in the country right now, Bruce. Got a couple of notes here about our market's not overheated. Phoenix, San Diego, Seattle, all up over 20% over year on the average. On the average home. Boston and Dallas, 16% and 15%. Tampa was up 15%.
Tampa is rock solid, and now that we have the Bucks, the Lightning, and the Rays. I mean, come on.
Good sports town. I don't know what's going on in Orlando with that.
Tampa's red hot.
Need to talk to the Magic management about that. But anyway, this market, it is hot and will stay hot. Central Florida, we got a little bit of an advantage. We're less expensive than these other markets. Like, we're less expensive than Tampa. We're less expensive than South Florida by a long shot. So any questions, you can give us a call at 407-352-8118. After the break, I'm going to tell you about some listings I have coming. I've got 3 great starter homes and a couple custom ones. You need to hear these next.
Yeah, well, we're going to hear all about those great opportunities. And when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the real estate market nationwide. So stay tuned. Stay to this station. Don't go anywhere. We got some hot news on the press, and I'm going to give you a lot of reasons why you should get into the market now. It's not a good time to wait. Just call me at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com, or you can go to Cleve's website that he's gotten regained it from the Russians, and you can go to CleveLoveland.com and check out Cleve, or call him at 407-352-8118. We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of Cleve Loveland and the Lone Ranger Radio Show.